spit that real shit you can't even deal with. Feel this motherfucker, if you don't, you a real bitch. I make sure that you do, my delivery's true. Flows in my soul, control tracks when I'm cued. Rolling sacks been subdued, but I'll get back on. Smoke the best, fuck the rest, blow high bills on the zone. Twist up with my homies, real ones, not phonies.
What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about just a couple of things. The big news today is, you know, they're eventually going to get to the State of the Union address. Chuck and Nancy are terrified of what Trump's going to say. They promised him if he reopened the government that they would give him the funding he wants for border security and to help build a better wall or whatever. Naturally, they're probably going to back out of it, and they're going to try not to give it to him. But he's given him every opportunity to work with him. He's tried to compromise with them, but they continually refuse and to compromise at all. So it wouldn't surprise me if he declares a state of emergency or something on him. And I don't blame him. You know, he's tried to work with the Democrats, and they don't want to work with him. So that's the biggest news thing in news that's going on right now. One thing I wanted to mention is the whole, you know, the last video I talked briefly about. What I didn't realize was, you know, the golden age of comics, when comics was first starting out, a lot of the, you know, comics came from like pulp magazines and stuff like that from like the 20s and into the 40s. You know, you had science fiction, horror, and crime stories in these pulp magazines or whatever. And a lot of your comic books came, and your comic book superheroes and villains came from these. I didn't realize that, you know, there was once a comic book superhero in the pulp magazines called the Black Bat, which is the creators of Batman stole their idea for Batman. You know, because if you do your own research, you look and see that, you know, the Black Bat was practically Batman. And, you know, he was a detective, and, you know, he had the cape and the suit and all that stuff long before Batman came around. And then you have like some golden age superheroes like the Shield. The Shield was actually the very first patriotic superhero. He, you know, later came Captain America, which took reference from the Shield. You had the Tarantula and the Spider Queen, which basically were golden age superheroes who influenced the idea of Spider-Man. You know, you could find certain references like this that most of the, you know, once the Silver Age came around, you know, all your latest superheroes, you know, they all derived from golden age superheroes. They got, you know, it was basically a reinvention of these golden age superheroes. It's kind of neat to find out all that, you know. So most of the popular superheroes were actually made up from old Golden Age superheroes. They were just reinvented. It's kind of strange. I just think it'd be cool if they did like a television show or something where they brought out, the Golden Age superheroes, like I said in the last video. They should do a superhero show called the JSA, which is the Justice Society of America, long before it became the Justice League. And it had all the Golden Age superheroes in it. Now I think that would be cool. Anyway, I just want to touch base on that, and then now I'll get to your B-movie review. This is actually part of a trilogy. I already did the first one. It was called Enter the Ninja. This is basically Ninja 2, or what more commonly known as Revenge of the Ninja. There's also a Ninja 3, which I'll eventually get to. But this is the second of the trilogy. It stars Sho Kosugi. I think I'm saying that right. Sho Kosugi. He's actually in all three movies. I just didn't realize it until this one. But in the first one, in Enter the Ninja, he plays the bad guy. He's the black ninja in the first one. He's the hired assassin or whatever. In this one, he's actually the good guy. But in the third one, he goes back to being a bad guy. He's kind of a ghost or whatever. But in this one, he's the good guy. The movie starts off with them in Japan. Know that this movie did fairly well. The budget for it was like $700,000, and it actually grossed $13 million. So it didn't. I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of change it made from just $700,000 to $13 million. That's pretty good for being a B-rated movie. But anyway, the movie starts off in Japan. I guess it doesn't really go and explain a whole lot about what's really going on at the beginning, except for that I guess there's this rivalry between two warring factions of ninjas. And his clan is at war with this other clan, and I guess they've been at it for thousands of years, or something like that. But anyways, his families of ninjas or whatever, his clan or whatever, been protecting this particular plot of land for thousands of years, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, this ninja group shows up at the very beginning in Japan and wipes out his whole family except for him and his son. There is an American with him, and supposedly he's his friend, and he tells him, "Come on to America with me, you need to hide from this ninja clan." So he goes to America. He takes his mother is still alive as well. She doesn't die. She shows up and sees everyone dead. So he takes his mother with him, but she don't trust his American friend. They get to America, and they're supposedly selling these, I guess they're porcelain dolls or something. Japanese-made, handmade porcelain dolls. Uh, it's been a few years later, maybe like 4 or 5 years, and he's been building up importing all these dolls or whatever, and he's getting ready to open up a shop to display these dolls. So he's fixing to have like some gallery art exhibit. And he's getting it set up. At this time, you meet this this blonde woman who's kind of helping him out, and he's still in touch with his American friend, and his American friend is supposedly helping him, trying to help him out and get set up as well. And they're going to sell these dolls together, and they're supposed to be partners. His son, which is like 5 years old now, he knocks over one of the dolls, and it breaks open, and apparently there's drugs inside of it. The kid don't know it, but the blonde woman was there when it happened, and she promises not to tell his father because it's a really expensive doll, and then she'll clean it up, no big deal. But apparently his American friend is trying to smuggle heroin in through with the dolls, and he doesn't know about it. His American friend goes to try to have a business deal with this like mob guy or whatever, and the mob guy's trying to he wants the dolls with the heroin, but he's trying to double cross the guy who's partners with him for the dolls. He's trying to double cross him. The guy who's his friend, supposed to be his friend, tells the mob guy, you don't screw around with the Japanese. They want their money, and he says you need to pay it right now. That was the deal. Don't screw around. Well, the mob guy tells him that he'll just have to wait on his money, blah blah blah, but he wants the dolls, right? So it's a big, they go at it. His friend or whatever, his supposed friend, is now going to attack the mob boss. And when he does it, he dresses up as this ninja with a mask, a silver mask, and he goes and attacks the mob guy. And the mob guy just try to scare him a little bit into paying him. Well, the mob guy doesn't realize who it is. He just thinks it's the Japanese trying to screw with him. So he decides to retaliate. He sends some of his goons over to, and one of them's an Indian. He's the leader of the group. He sends them over to steal the dolls. He tells them to go steal the dolls. Don't harm the dolls. Don't destroy them. Just pack them up and take them. And they go over to the studio, or the art studio, to steal the dolls. Well, Sho, which is also a ninja, shows up, and he sees them stealing the dolls. So Sho attacks them, trying to stop them from stealing the dolls. And there's a big fight scene or whatever, and it takes it out on the road. They're running around on the road as he's trying to get the dolls back. He ends up getting a little beaten up over it, and one guy gets away with the dolls. At this time, uh, the woman is ordered to grab the kid because the kid saw that there were drugs inside the doll, and apparently the American dude, he has some influence. American ninja guy, he has some influence over the woman, and he tells her to go bring him the kid. He knows too much, and so she goes to get the kid. While that's going on, the American ninja guy, he goes in and he decides to take care of it himself, and I think he went to go kill Sho or some crap, because he shows up at his little dojo or whatever, and he ends up killing the mother, Sho's mother. And when he does, the kid sees him without his mask on. The kid gets away, and he reinforces on the blonde that she has got to get that kid now for sure. So she brings him the kid, and he takes both him and her, and he tells her that he's got to kill the kid because the kid saw him, and he locks them up. But just before he does, she's able to call Sho, and Sho's made it back to the art gallery or whatever, and she tells Sho he's got that her and the kids there, and it's all his friend's fault and blah blah blah, and she didn't know they was going to harm the kid or try to harm the kid, and yada yada yada, and so now he knows he's got to go get his kid. The whole time this is going on, there's another guy who's a police officer, and he's trying to get Sho to help him with this with the mob. There's the mob guys are dying by some ninja, which is the American ninja. So he's trying to get his help on identifying this other ninja. He still doesn't know it's his best friend until the blonde woman tells him. Once that's done, then he's got to go and try to get find out where he's keeping his son and the blonde woman. The cop and Sho go to this gang that the cop knows about and thinks they might have some information of where to find them. They attack this gang. This gang tells them, where to find the mob boss, and so they go to attack the mob boss to find out where this ninja's at, or his friend who's the ninja, because they tell him that he's going to go attack them. So they find out that the American ninja is going to go fight the mob boss again because he didn't pay. So Sho and the cop, they go to where the mob boss is located to try to stop the fighting or the killing or whatever. When they get there, his buddy, or the person he thought was his friend, the Silver Mask Ninja, we'll just call him that, he kills the cop guy, and Show starts chasing him down. He kills pretty much all the mob guys, and then they end up on the roof. The kid knows martial arts, so he ends up busting out his little, where the room he was being kept in. The woman's in like this hot tub or whatever, being restrained with these ropes or whatever, and the kid gets out, and the Silver Mask Ninja leaves like a bodyguard or something there, and big fat sumo wrestler type looking dude. And anyway, the kid beats the crap out of him, and the whole time he's beating the crap out of him, he helps a blonde woman get out of the hot tub or whatever, and they escape. The whole time that's going on, Show ends up having to fight the Silver Mask Ninja up on top of the roof of the mob boss's place. And there's a big, long fight scene between the Silver Mask Ninja and Show. But Show knows who he is now. The guy who's supposed to be his friend, who's really not. And you tell when something's choreographed when they're pausing a lot of the times when they're fighting, and they do a lot of pausing in between the fight scenes, and they're trying to show new tricks, like, you know, this whole fire thing. He spits out some fire from his hands or something, like a blowtorch. There's a couple other things where the weapons are taken apart, and there's like knives and blowguns in the weapons, and all kinds of different things, you know, different types of weapons and tricks and smoke bombs and all that crap the whole time they're fighting. So it's a crazy fight, but in the end, you know, he eventually kills the guy, and that's pretty much the end. He finds his son and the woman. Somehow they made it to the top of the mob boss's rooftop or whatever, and they come see him, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. As far as action-wise goes, it's fairly decent as far as action-wise goes. I understand what they were doing. You know, back in the 80s, there was this big ninja craze there for a while, and of course the first one, Enter the Ninja, that started it all, the ninja craze there in the early 80s. There are also some ninja movies called American Ninja, and there's a good sequel of them. There's like 4 or 5 of them. But they were trying to show some of the things that the ninja could do in this movie, and it was pretty cool for the most part, especially back then, because not a lot was known about ninjas. I think I saw this one when I was very, very little, but I don't hardly remember anything of it except for the guy in the silver mask. That mask kind of stayed with me, so I didn't really remember the movie until I just watched it here recently. It's a pretty good movie if you're into, you know, martial arts types, action flicks or whatever. It's fairly decent. I mean, it's a little cheesy because you can tell that the fight scenes are definitely choreographed. But overall, the acting's not really great either. So don't expect, like, these are not A-list actors at all. The acting's not really that good either, but overall the movie wasn't too bad. It's watchable, and if you're into that kind of action or whatever, martial arts action, definitely give it a watch. I recommend it. I'll be glad to get to the third one eventually. That's the one I really remember from my childhood. I saw it when I was real little too, but that one was really cool. And I think most people who remember anything about the Ninja movies, Ninja 3, The Domination, that was the one that everyone really remembers from back then. Um, and eventually I'll get to that one. So check out Revenge of the Ninja. It's fairly decent. I give it 2 thumbs up as far as B movies go. And if you have any suggestions of movies that you would like me to review and give my opinion on, I'm a pretty good judge when it comes to movies. Most people ask me for recommendations all the time. So anyway, leave a suggestion down in the comment box if you have a movie for me to review. And until then, I told you I'd tell you the truth, and you've just been told.